Setting up and adjusting your bid is arguably one of the most important things that you can do as advertiser on Amazon. And if you have been using Amazon suggested bids for a while when you're setting up your very first Amazon PPC campaigns, I'm here to tell you there's a way better way on how to do it, and today you're going to learn everything about it. Hey there, I'm Noemi, co-founder of Scaleway. We're helping brands small to mid-size scale successfully, and Amazon have been managing over 5 million for the past 3 years in ad spend. And today's video is going to be one of the most important things that you should be knowing whenever you're going to set up your very first ads. So basically, when it comes down to setting up your ads, you would just go and head over to sponsored products, and this is what it looked like right now in 2025. After doing that, you would just go and set up a manual targeting campaign. You would choose keyword targeting, and once you've done that, you're going to be brought here into the keyword targeting section. For the purpose of this video, I'm just selecting exact match for now, so I can showcase you exactly what I mean when it comes down to bidding. In this case, there are several keywords here that are suggested by Amazon. Cat tree is being one of them. So once that it has been added into our keyword targeting section, so it has a bid of 0.19 cents. The lowest suggested bid is 0.17, the highest is 0.20. While that is suggested bid, what is the most important takeaway here is that in my experience, these are really suggestions of Amazon. There's no truth to it whatsoever, and Amazon is not going to decide if you're profitable or not on a keyword. So today I want to teach you one of the methods that I've seen work all the time when it comes down to calculating your exact bid when it comes down to any new campaigns. It's an easy formula. So basically, let's say if our target ACOS is 100%, our product price is $50, our conversion rate is 10%, and our starting bid is going to be $5. But before I'm moving too fast forward, let me just bring you back on what do these actually mean. So basically, the starting bid is going to be the bid that you set right when you're starting the campaign. The target ACOS is going to be how much are you willing to pay, so it's going to be your average cost of sale. The product price is your retail price basically. And the conversion rate, this is something that you can look into your business reports. Each product has its own conversion rate. So while on an account basis, you can also have an overall conversion rate. Very important for you because probably you're not going to sell all your products at the same price. Each product is going to have its own conversion rate. So that is something that you would be looking up once that you're logging into business reports, and then details, buyer, child item, if I know that correctly. All right, so now that we have that, next thing is going to be, we want to understand how does this work. If we would have 100% ACOS, this means that we are willing to pay up to $50 in order to make the one sale. If our target is 50% and the product price is still $50, then our starting bid would be $2.5. If our target ACOS is 25%, for example, our starting bid is going to be $1.25. And while in theory this sounds quite straightforward and it makes sense, most of the time when it comes down to the target ACOS, what is going to define how much are we willing to pay or what would our target ACOS be? It's dependent on the strategy. I created a full video regards evergreen campaigns, and there I am talking about 5 evergreen strategies. Go check out the video. I'm going to link to that at the end of the video. But basically, the main core thing is that it really depends on the strategy behind the campaign. So for example, it can be a ranking campaign where it's okay for us to have even 100% ACOS because we know that organically we're going to rank for certain keywords and it's okay for us to pay 100% ACOS. For other strategies like the discovery campaigns, for example, where we want to pay as low as possible to gain traction for new keywords that were not under our radar, there we would not have 100% ACOS but 25% ACOS. Depending on the campaign strategy, we're going to go up to how much ACOS this campaign should have. Again, this is just theory, but it's important for you to understand. Now, we can set up these rules clearly, but there can be 2 outcomes. The first outcome is going to be that even if you're going to go with the 100% ACOS, your product price is $50, conversion rate is 10%, and you will start with a $5 bid, it might be that Amazon is not going to showcase your product at all. So in that scenario, you would be increasing the bids. Usually what we are doing on our end whenever we are trying out a keyword that is not discovery keyword, but we are willing to pay more, in that case, what we would be doing in the morning and also in the evening, we would be checking the campaign itself and see, did we generate any impressions? So in the morning, we would increase the bid by 5%. If no impressions were generated in the evening, we would repeat the same process until we get in at least a few impressions. So we know clearly that that product now is visible for that specific bid. Now, the second outcome that is our ideal outcome is that once that you're going to showcase your product and you have maybe a $5 bid, people are going to purchase your product and you're going to generate sales. And the downside of that is going to be your campaign budget highly likely is going to run out of budget. If the campaign makes sense for you, if it's, for example, a discovery campaign and it's at 20% or 25% ACOS, let it run, add some more into your budget. So that would be the caveat there. Of course, this is, in theory, it sounds good, but at the end, you will have to see how does that applies to your specific category and to your specific niche. There's also something else that I wanted to talk to you about, which is bidding strategy. So we have 3 options when it comes down to bidding strategy whenever you're creating your campaigns. Now, highly dependent on whatever your bidding strategy is, also the outcome of your bids is going to be. So we have the bids, dynamic bids up and down. Here, Amazon really can double or decrease your bid. This is going to be really good for new targets with unknown competitiveness. We also have the dynamic bids down only. Here, Amazon will only decrease your bid. This is a most common and most safest bet. Honestly, it's something that we're using 99% in all our campaigns. So I would highly recommend this one, especially if you're a newbie. And then fixed bids, here Amazon always is going to use the exact bids that you said. Best is going to be for aggressive ranking campaigns. However, a quick caveat here that is really, really important now, because I hear people saying that, all right, so if I'm going to have a $5 bid and anyone else is going to bid $1, will I pay the $5? And no, that is not the case. So here, just a quick clarification, bid does not equal your cost per click. For example, if you're bidding the $5 and everyone else is bidding $6, you won't show up for that particular keyword. However, if you're going to bid $5 fixed and everyone else is going to bid $1, you'll be slightly higher than the $1 and not the $5. So that's the idea that you're going to win the auction rather than pay exactly whatever you say that is how much you're willing to pay. Now, the next thing that is really important for you to understand is adjusting bids based on data. So after you created your very first campaigns, after you bidded the correct amount and now you get clicks, it's going to be an outcome, right? So either the clicks are going to convert, either the clicks are not going to convert, either you're not going to show up at all, either you're going to show up very profitably. And those are the scenarios that we're going to go through. So the very first case is going to be keywords that are high ACOS. Here we would suggest to lower the bid depending on ACOS. And basically this is a very good way for you to very strategically decrease the bid. Now I hear a lot of people are saying that if you had this high ACOS, even 100% ACOS, you should slash the bids by 20 to 30%. I would advise you to not to do that. Reason for that, if you're going to do that, you're also going to slash down all the impressions. So you're throttling everything. Rather than that, really look into how much more am I paying. So for example, if you have a 220% ACOS, you might be going with a 20% down, because if you're going to have the $5 bid, in that scenario, you will be paying only $4. So you will still show up. There's going to be a decrease in bid, but not as much. As an example here, let's say that we are aiming to have 50% ACOS, and right now we have a 60% ACOS. So in that scenario, what we would be doing, maybe we are going to reduce it by 10%. So as you can see, it's going to be, instead of the $5, you're going to pay $4.50. Very, very important. I would suggest you to decrease bids way more often than cutting them right away down. Simple reason for that, Amazon gives a 12 to 48 hours window attribution. So it might be that you actually gained more sales. In the meantime, your actual ACOS is going to be way lower and you're going to just cut down on profitable sales, which we don't want to do. So that is the first scenario. The second scenario, it is keywords with low ACOS. Here, what we would suggest is to increase the bids and or budget depending on placement. Very important takeaway. And this is something that until the past 2 to 3 months, even we did not pay attention to. Why am I showcasing you this? Is because, for example, this is a very good case for us where we see that our ACOS is 30%. Our target ACOS for the count is 50%. So as you can see here, the ACOS is way below that. And what we would have normally done is when we see that we have a 30% ACOS, we are going to up the bids. And that is something that we cannot do because here, for example, we have a placement modifier. So if we have also a placement modifier and if we're also upping the bid, what we're going to end up with, we're going to increase the ACOS too much and we're not going to control it. So look very closely into, do you have a bid modifier on the campaign? If so, you would be adjusting the bid modifier rather than the CPC. In this case, because we already know that the placement for the top of search worked really well, we are not going to adjust anything else. Besides the placement modifier, the CPC is going to stay the same because it's profitable for us. So do check on that before you would make any adjustments when it comes down to increasing bids. You can increase bids in case that no placement at all makes any difference for you. If they are all performed very similarly, usually that's not going to be the case. I'm just letting you know. But do check on this before you would adjust any ACOS that is below your target ACOS. Now, the third scenario is going to be keywords with many clicks, no sales. You would wait longer to gain at least 15 to 20 clicks in this specific scenario, again with a 10% conversion rate, before pausing or negating. And here what I'm suggesting is better to decrease your bids first. Here I'm just showcasing you a quick example. So as you can see, the very first 4 ACs did not perform. The CPC was quite high. There was one product that performed really well. That one, it was not paused, basically, but all the rest were paused. And why I'm showcasing you this is because we don't want to cut down on something that might have the potentials to bring us sales. So first, we're going to use this spreadsheet to decrease our bids to assure that that is done first, right? Once that has been done and still we have no more sales, we are going to look into, does this campaign has multiple products for which only certain products are not converting or only certain keywords are not converting? Those are the ones that we're going to pause. We're still going to let the campaign enabled because we don't know how it's going to react for the other keywords or other products that are within the campaign. Last but not least is going to be the keywords with low impressions. So that is something that you can see on a campaign level. In the impression column, it's not going to be any data there. First off, what I would like you to do before even doing any adjustments is look within the campaign itself and look if there's any issue within the campaign. Because most of the time what I'm seeing when it comes down to execution, so you now watch this video, you're not taking it, and you're going to execute. Most of the time what is happening is just because you're executing right away based on what I'm teaching you, you're going to miss something really important. Checking if there's any issue with the listing. We initially thought that impression was very low for a few campaigns that we just started for this kitchen and dining category product, and we were certain that everything was done right on our end, right? So what happened is that we increased bids more and more and more and more, and we increased bids for 2 days. It was like no impressions at all. And we were thinking, oh, maybe our bids are too low. But then after 2 days, when we see, okay, that is not the case, we went into the campaign itself, and what we noticed is that the products were ineligible for advertising. So in that scenario, you definitely can increase the bid, but it's going to make no difference. So this is why I'm advising you to check first if there's any listing issue that is within the campaign. That is something that is going to show up in just a few hours after you created the campaigns, sometimes even just a few minutes. So that is the first red flag that you should check before even increasing your bids. Then, of course, you can increase the bids. As I was saying, you can increase by 5%, 10%, whatever you're comfortable with. But the idea would be to not increase too much the bids straight away, rather just give it just a bit of leeway. In case you are working with the ranking campaign, yes, you want to increase the bids right away because the purpose of those campaigns is to be visible as soon as possible, even bump up your bids to $10 to see if you're visible at all. So that would be the purpose of it. And then what else you can do also, you can move the keywords into their own campaigns. If there's still no visibility, always check if Amazon suppressed ads because of new or irrelevant products. Now, placement modifiers, this is something that we already touched briefly when we talked about increasing the bid versus increasing the placement. Basically, whenever you're starting your very new campaign, this is what it's going to look like. What I would advise you is, first off, do not make any changes to these bid adjustment, placement adjustments. And the reason for that is that each campaign is a hypothesis. It might work, it might not. So what we want to do first, we want to gather data, then we want to prove that a specific placement is going to be a winner for us, and only afterwards we're going to increase the modifier for that placement. And that's a wrap. Certainly hope that you found value in this video. Please check out also this other video that I am linking here for you. This is the evergreen strategy that I was talking about at the mid of the video. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments, and I'm going to personally look through all the comments and answer them. Take care. Bye.